with that, I'd like to invite our next speaker for today, Mahamahopadhyay, Dr. Professor Korada Subrahmanyam ji. Professor Korada Subrahmanyam, he's going to speak on the topic, the Indian theories and Western hypothesis of language. Now, Korada Subrahmanyam ji, he was born in 54. He's a Sanskrit grammarian and a scholar from Hyderabad. He was a professor of Sanskrit at the University of Hyderabad. And he was born into a family of Vedic scholars hailing from the Godavari Delta region, known as Konasima. His areas of expertise include the Ashtadasha Vidya itself, philosophy of language and translation. He's well known and he's well versed in the Mahabhashya, Vakyapadiya, Laghu Manjusha, Shloka Vartikam, and Tantra Vartikam. For those who want to explore more about his works, you can visit his blogs, which is called koradium.blogspot.com. With those very few words, I'd like to invite Mahamahopadhyay to share his views on this topic. Thank you for joining us today, Professor.
Shri Ganeshaya Namaha. Thank you very much, Meghaji, for giving me a chance to Indic Academy and viewers as well. Today, I would like to discuss certain issues related to the so-called linguistics from the Western point of view. And from Indian point of view, there are a number of systems which deal with the so-called linguistics or science of language. Actually, it all started the tradition of linguistic theories, right from Varna down to Mahavakyam. We are going to touch each aspect that has been there since time immemorial on Indian soil. So, whereas in the Western world, including Russia, they started this kind of studies roughly after Second World War. So, I have authored a book called Theories of Language, Oriental and Occidental. So that in a nutshell, I put the theories of both the Western scholars as well as those emanated from India in different systems like Shiksha, Vyakaranam, Niruktam, Mimamsa, Nyaya Vaisheshika, and so on. It is the only book available wherein both the theories are available. So what happens is the very perspective of looking at the language, how they look at the language is different when compared with the Western scholars. But what happened is the libraries in India are dumped with books, more books rather, that are written taking the so-called theories. Actually, they are hypotheses, not theories. Okay, authored by the Western scholars. But totally there was a failure because they did not live up to the standard. They could not offer a sustainable theory for language at any level. So actually, if we take, it is called a Shabda. Shabda is untranslatable, although you put W in capital. Shabda is untranslatable because it is pregnant with meaning. There are a number of meanings. Varnaha, Prakritihi, Pratyayaha, Padam, Vakyam, Avantara Vakyam, Mahavakyam, Para, Pashyanti, Madhyama, Vaikhari, the Dhvanihi, and Shabda Pramanam. All these 14 or 15 meanings are there for the term Shabda. Therefore, it is better adapted rather than rendered into any other language. So generally, Westerners do words like that. Anyway, so now what happens is, in Indian subcontinent, we have been following, because the origins of linguistic analysis are there in Vedas, and the same are elaborated and explained with examples by different systems of Indian philosophy. there are 6 main systems called Vedangas, which are limbs of Veda, which are useful tools to understand any Vedic sentence. Shiksha, Vyakaranam, Niruktam, then Jyotisham, Kalpa. These are the 6 Vedangas. I'll touch briefly. Then there are darshanas. Actually, 12 darshanas. Among them, 6 are called Astika darshanas. Pauromimamsa, which is also called Vakya Shastram, and then Vedanta, Nyaya, Vaisheshika, Yoga, and Sankhya. Almost in all these darshanas also, the theories of language, interpretation, etc. Are discussed thoroughly. But depending on the importance each one of them dealt with, they are named Padashastram. For example, Vyakaranam is now called Padashastram. That does not mean that only word or padam is taken up for discussion and so on. Right from Varna down to Mahavakyam, that is, you can call it discourse. Okay, all these items are discussed in Vyakarana. Same is the case with Pramana Shastram or Nyaya Vaisheshika combined. That is, there also Pramanas are important. Pratyaksha, Anumana, Upamana, Shabda Pramanas are mainly discussed. And in Mimamsa also, especially Pauromimamsa, which is called Vakya Shastram, the right from Varna down to Mahavakyam, all the items are discussed thoroughly. Now, one main difference between the Oriental, that is Indian theories of language, and the Western so-called theories is that here in India, that is actually Sanskritam only. Later on, different vernaculars have borrowed from Sanskritam. So in Sanskritam, here language is, or its analysis is associated with dharma, roughly philosophy, we say. Whereas in Western countries, they simply have a mundane outlook and they say language is just language like that. So here, language is actually compared with the very cause of the universe that is called Brahman, called Shabda Brahma. So, he is on a par with Brahman. Without Brahman, that is, Brahman is again taken as consciousness and all that. What is the difference between a living body and a dead body? That is just the consciousness. So, if there is consciousness, one can speak. The Indriyas, the sense organs can work. Otherwise, they cannot. So, consciousness itself is considered as Vak by Bhartrhari in Vakyapadiyam. Okay, otherwise, Drishyate Kashthakujavat. It looks like a dry stick or just like a wall without consciousness. Okay, so therefore, consciousness is the very cause of the Shabda or Vak. Anyway, Vak or Shabda both are the same. So now what happens? Before going to delve at the very analysis offered by different systems from Western world, let us see what is our Indian tradition, what our Indian tradition says. Shabda is of 4 types: Vaikhari, Madhyama or Spota, Pashyanti, and Para. So Paravak is at the end of the spinal cord and it is not visible. It is directly Brahman itself. It is not visible. Then Pashyanti Vak is at the navel. Pashyanti Navi Samsthita. I am not quoting from Sanskrit texts because for temporal considerations, the time is less. So it is there at the navel, and rishis like Panini, Patanjali, Katyayana, etc. have got the splitting of a Shabda as a Prakriti and Pratyaya, root and suffix. And coming down to the line, there is, there it is Spota or Madhyamavak. Madhyamavak is actually considered to be the very cause of the Vak and having the meaning. So this is also called spota. What is this spota? Spotati arthaha asmaditi spotaha. Sputyate iti arthopi spotaha. Spota refers to both shabda and artha. Okay, so Bhartrihari in Vakyapadiyam Brahmakanda says, Dvavapadana Shabdeshu Shabdau Shabdavido Viduhu Eko Nimittam Shabdanam Aparorthe Priyujyate. Here what happens is, two kinds of Shabda is there. What are they? Vaikhari and Spota. Majjhima Vak, doesn't matter much. Vaikhari is Vikara means body. The one which emanates from the body is called, it is called Vaikhari. So the actual sounds that are heard, audible sounds are called Vaikhari. But the problem is there. From Vaikhari, if a speaker pronounces a sentence consists of a number of course, words and then letters. But each letter disappears as soon as it is pronounced. So by the time a person, the speaker, pronounces a sentence consisting of, say, 10 letters, okay, all the earlier 9 letters are gone. Only the 10th letter, that is the last one, is heard. Nevertheless, the listener, the Shrota, claims, I got the meaning. I got the meaning of the sentence. How? That means simultaneity. That means being available at a single point of time of all the letters, all the 10 letters, is impossible. No, it is not there in our experience. Nevertheless, the listener Shrota claims, I understood the meaning. How? How is it possible? This is the basic question. So the question is answered like this. No, not like that. This Shabda is taken here in this context in two forms. One is Vaikhari. The second one is Spota. What do you mean by Spota? A Shabda without any internal differences like Varna, Pada, and so on. It is already there in the mind of both speaker and the listener. And the Vaikhari Shabda, when it is pronounced, for example, go, okay, let us see what is the speech process quickly. If the speaker looks at a thing, recollects the Shabda related to that Artha. Artha can be meaning or Artha can be the real thing that is being denoted by a Shabda. That means when you pronounce a word like cow, the cow image is there in your mind as well as it is there available. Some are available, some are not available. For example, love, hatred, such things are not available. Only bhava one can have in the mind. That is a separate discussion. So one wants to speak about a cow. First he looks at a cow and then recollects the Shabda that is already there in his mind due to earlier experience, and then tries to pronounce the Shabda. How Shabda is produced is clearly, beautifully explained in Shiksha by Panini, and the same is available in Sangeeta Shastra. Okay, and then the same is available in Mimamsa also. Okay, so the mind has got some wish, it pushes the air, it gets connected with the fire that is there in the body, Vaishvaniraha. Okay, so with the help of the Agni, the air is pushed up, it touches different speech organs, and the sound is produced. This is roughly what is explained by Panini in Shiksha Shastra. Now, so this from speaker's point of view, from first it is Artha, then he recollects the Shabda, and then the Shabda Vyapara, that is speech, takes up, then it is pronounced, and the sounds with the help of a medium, that is Vayu, travel to the ears of the Shrota or listener. They enter the mind of the Shrota through the ears. Mind is very important. no indriya, sense organ, can work without mind, manas. So the shabda sounds enter the manas and wake up sphota. They just wake up the shabda that is already there in the mind. Then you may say, but suppose someone said Raja. Why not? How can you say that it is not taken as jara, old age? No, it is not taken because the shabda, both Vaikhari and Sphata shabda, are akin to each other. So in whatever krama, sequence, ga, au, visarga, in the same order, Raja, r, a, j, a, in the same order, the sounds enter, Vaikhari shabda enters the mind and it wakes up a similar shabda that is already there recorded in the mind of the listeners, Shrota. So there will not be any problem like this. That means a shabda waking up a different thought shabda like that. So then automatically, then he recollects the meaning of that shabda, okay, in Sphata, and says, yes, I understand cow, I understand go, like that. But is there any roughly proof to say that both the Vaikhari Shabda and the Sphata Shabda are akin, are one and the same? Yes. So it will just go out of this thing. In Ramayanam, it is described that Hanuman was speaking to Sri Rama, Sita, and the mantris, etc. How is it possible? How can a person just speak like that? The answer is given in 3rd Adhyaya, 17th Sutra of Yoganushasana. Before going to that, just one point, 3 doshas are there. Vak-dosha, the defects of Shabda. Manodosha, defects of Manas. And Sharirika dosha, defects of body. In order to see that people will get rid of these doshas, 3 doshas, Patanjali authored 3 works. For getting the people to get rid of the Vak-doshas, he authored Mahabhashyam. This is the only work that can be called Mahabhashyam. That is a vast commentary-like thing, okay, on Panini Sutras and Kachayana Vartikas. In order to see that the mental defects will not be there for people, then he authored Yoganushasana. Yogashasanam by Hiranyagarbha, Yoganushasana is by Patanjali. Then, in order to see that the problems, defects of body will not affect the people, he authored Charaka Sutram. Only some sutras are available. So now we are quoting from Yoganushasana. There, 3rd Adhyaya, 17th Sutra says, Shabdartha Pratyayanam itaretara sankaraha tat pravibhaga sanyamat sarva bhota rata jnanam. There is one thing called Sankara, Sanyama. What is Sanyama? Yama, Niyama, Asana, Pranayama, Pratyahara, Dharana, Dhyana, Samadhi are 8 angas, Ashtanga. There, Dharana, Dhyana, Samadhi, these 3 are called by the name Samyama. Trayamekatra Sanyamaha. This is the also. So a person, if he has got command upon all the 3, that is Dharana, Dhyana, Samadhi, he is called a Sanyami. And a Sanyami will be in a position to separate the Shabda, Artha and Jnana, which are there in the form of an amalgam, Parasparadhyasat, I shall explain. Okay, then he will be in a position to understand Sarva Bhota Rata Jnana, the languages of all the beings. It may be birds, it may be animals, it may be. So, here he says, Vyasa Maharshi explains this sutram of Patanjali, Shabda Artha Pratyaya, Shabda, Gauhi iti Shabda. What is the Shabda you employed? Gauhu. What is the Artha of Gauhu? Go Shabda? Gauhu only. Acha. What kind of Jnanam you are getting out of Go Shabda? That is Gauhu only. So, Gauriti Shabda, Gaurityatha, Gauriti Jnanam. Then what do you mean by Parasparadhyasa? Super imposition. That is, Shabda eva arthaha, artha eva jnanam, jnanam eva shabdaha. Because all the three are there in the same form. Therefore, there is no difference. But outside, how to separate them, only a Sanjami can do. And if he is a Sanjami, if he is so qualified, then he will be in a position to understand whether Hanuman was speaking to Rama or Jambavanta or monkeys and different beings. Yes. Some people, modern people may say, no, they are just sounds, there is no meaning, etc. Don't trust them. Every prani has got its own language. If you want to understand that language, you should become a Sanjami. Leave it there. Therefore, come back to Sphatavada. So here what happens, when a Shabda, for example, if I say, ich gehe zu Japan, in German, Deutsch, then the other person says, I don't understand what you said. Why? What did you say? He's asking. Why? Because the Sphata is not there. The language, the Shabdas of a particular language should be known. That means both the speaker and the listener should be familiar, should have been familiar with the Shabdas of the language. And of course, separately, Artha only we have to take. Om Ityeka Aksharam Brahma. This is from Upanishad, Mahanarayana Upanishad. Om itself is Brahman. There are two ways of explaining things. Om itself is Brahman. If you take Yoga Sutram, he says, Tasya Vachaka Pranavaha. The Pranava, Onkara Pranava Samau, Amarkosha. I got by heart Amarkosha at the age of 5. So now, what happens is, the Onkara denotes Brahman. That is the Sutram. Or, actually, there is no difference between Onkara and Brahman. I am Rama. This person is Rama. This is not correct. This person is not Rama. This person's name is Rama. But when you Parasparadhyasa and do, you simply say, he is Rama like that. Come back. So, it is Sphatavada and one more thing is, in the beginning I said, yes, Samskrita Bhasha is associated with Dharma philosophy. What does it mean? This is unique to Samskrita. That's why the Daivi Bhasha or Sanskritam is the only language which is suitable to computers. In 1995-96, I was working on machine translation. I told the people, a machine does not possess buddhi. If you can either inject or insert buddhi into the machine, then it will be in a position to understand as to whether it is a bank of water or bank of money. Otherwise, no. Therefore, Samskrita Bhasha has been protected through ages. By saying, Siddhe Shabdartha Sambandhe Lokataha Artha Prayukte Shabda Prayoge Shastrena Dharmani Makrite Yatha Laukika Vaidikeshu. This is the first article of Katyayana Maharshi, the Munitrayam, Panini, Katyayana, Patanjali. Their words are final. Nobody else is allowed to enter into any kind of discussion. Trimunu Vyakaranam, that's why it is called. So, first take Vyakaranam and grammar. It is a rough translation. Roughly without claim to accuracy. What do you mean by that? Vyakaranam means the derivative meaning. Vyakriyante apashabdebhyaha sadhishabdaha prasakriyante anena iti Vyakaranam. Vyakaranam is an instrument which separates shabdas or sadhishabdas or correct shabdas that are acceptable to Vyakaranam from the apashabdas. Just an example. Bhedaha, bhidhatu, bhai pratyaya. Bhedaha is the correct shabda. That means acceptable to Vyakaranam. Some people say Vedaha. Others say Bhedaha. Still others say Vedaha. Many more may be there. Because from person to person, village to village, town to town, country to country, the shabda may undergo change. But Sadhu Shabda is one and only one. If you employ a Sadhu Shabda with prior knowledge of Vyakaranam, you will get Dharma. This is what is said in the quoted Vartikam, that is Dharma Niyamaha. If you employ a Sadhu Shabda like Vedhaha, Bhedaha, etc., you will get Adharma. We know there are 4 pillars of Indian culture. Now we don't have time to go deep into the discussion. Dharma, Artha, Kama and Moksha. Finally, through Dharma, one would attain Moksha. So, Vyakaranam is useful. Bhartahari clearly states in Brahmakanda of Vakyavari, Iyamsa mokshamananam ajamharaja paddhatihi. This is a highway to reach the very, last and final goal, that is moksha, 4 purusharthas. Okay, so this is the scenario on Oriental side. Still, I will go into details. Before just touching the Western, Bloomfield, etc., many people, many linguists from West actually did not accept Artha as an important item. They said only Shabda, let us take. No need of Artha. You fail to understand. So just now I quoted Siddhe Shabdartha Sambandhe. When you say, you pronounce a Shabda, automatically the Artha will come. You cannot separate. The same thing is said in Mimamsa also. Okay. Outpattikastu Shabdasyarthena Sambandha. Outpattika iti nityam brumaha. Shabraswami. Okay. It is immutable. You cannot simply change. You cannot separate Artha from Shabda. Vagarthaviva samprattau Vagartha pratipattaye. This is from Kalidasa's Raghuvamsha. This is well known. That's why I am quoting. So, Vaka and Artha cannot be separated. But those people who started linguistics in the beginning, then Western Hemisphere, etc., they said, no need of. Is it so? So, they went on. They failed. Again, they studied whether it is Saussure or Chomsky or Bob, there are so many people. We are not going to name all them out. So, almost those people then changed their way. No. The meaning also will be true. What are you talking? What are you saying? What do you mean? You have brought in so many GB theory, minimalistic approach at the end. In between, there are many structural linguistics, this, that, all those things I have explained in detail in my book, Theories of Language, Oriental and Occidental, available online. So, they said actually, and later they went on to say, no, it is just like a living item language. What do you mean? And then Chomsky was neither this side nor that side. Something he says, finite state grammar, then he says no, then he says yes, what? What do you want? That's why in the beginning I said they are not theories, siddhantas, but hypotheses, just oha. Theory means just roughly we will translate it as siddhanta. What is a siddhanta? What is siddhanta is ante siddha siddhantaha. At the end, whatever is finalized, that is called siddhanta. What do you mean by end? There will be vadi, there will be prativadi. Both of them go on discussing. Okay, pros and cons, and finally arrive at a conclusion. That conclusion is called siddhanta. If someone says something, especially in the modern linguistics, he himself refutes his own so-called theory, or others would refute his so-called theory, it is gone. Actually, what do you want? Why are you dumping the libraries with books that are authored by many scholars for PhDs, MPhils, whatnot, everything in Indian libraries? Now, there is nothing. They have to come back to Indian linguistic theories. Just one example I will give you. What is the meaning of cow? The meaning of cow is cow? No. The word cow has got 5 meanings. Panchakam pratipadika Patanjali. Do not kill a cow. What do you mean by a cow? All cows, any cow. That means jati, or class is the. Then fetch a cow. A cow means a single cow, an individual cow. Vyakti. Vyakti is artha. So jati, vyakti. Then cow, Strilinga. feminine, gender. Gender is also denoted. Okay. Sankhya, then cow, cows. It is singular number. Ekatvam. Sankhya is all. Jati, Vyakti, Linga, Sankhya, Karakam. Then cow is coming. He gave grass to the cow. Okay. Milk will come from cow. Like that, we add the prepositions. Before a noun, you are adding from, at, on, in, etc. In Sanskritam and other Indian languages, we add Karaka. Ghar se aa raha hai. Grihad agachyati. So they are postposition. So a cow, the word has got 5 meanings. Did anyone see this kind of explanation? Huh? In any book of English grammar? No? So there is a lot of discussion about each and every item. I think I have to answer some questions also. I don't know. It is 11:04. I don't want to cross the time. I will be within my limits strictly. I should not cross, please.
Yes, Professor, you're very much within your limits. You have taken 35 minutes only. Thank you very much you still have 10 minutes. If you want to take 5 more minutes to summarize, you could. Or if you want to take any questions right now, I'm just seeing if there are any questions specific to your presentation. I don't see any specific to your presentation at the moment. You could close in summary if you want to use a few minutes.
Sure. So now, in the beginning, I said the term Shabda has got many meanings, not several. Then let us touch one by one. Varnaha. The Varna is taken as the minimum unit of language without meaning. Varna doesn't have any meaning. In modern linguistics, what they said, it is politics, phonology, etc. That you just read those books and you will get. So then some group of Varnas will become a Padam. Okay. Then two or more Padas will become a Vakyam. Here comes the definition of a sentence. How to decide whether a given group of words can be called a sentence, Vakyam or not. Then it is given Akanksha, Yogyata, Asakti. 3 prerequisites are there to decide whether a given group of words can be a sentence or not. First one is Akanksha. Akanksha is actually, it is related to mind, but here also, since the person who is speaking has got consciousness, we take it like that. This is explained in Mahabhashyam. So Akanksha, Ramaha. Ramaha, it is the noun. Kinkaroti, what is he doing? The Akanksha, expectancy is for a verb. Ramaha Pachati. Oh, generally Chaitra Pachati is taken in examples. So Chaitraha Pachati. You said Pachati. The verb only you pronounce. Then the Akanksha will be for the noun. Kaf Pachati, who is cooking? Chaitra Pachati. So between Chaitraha and Pachati, there is the Akanksha. Okay, mutual expectancy. The group of words, these 2 words, Chaitraha Pachati, can be called a sentence. 1, Akanksha. Yogyata. Yogyata is compatibility. So there what happens is, Chaitra is watering with fire. Take a sentence. Is it okay? Okay means syntactically it is okay, but on semantic front it fails. That means it doesn't have Yogyata. Therefore, almost syntactically correct. Since it failed on semantic front, Chaitraha Manhina Sinchiti, Chaitra is watering with fire, is not an acceptable sentence. Third one is Asakti or Sannidhi, it is also called. Proximity, closeness. So the words of a sentence should be pronounced in quick succession, without much gap. Suppose someone says Chaitraha in the morning, and in the evening he returns and says Pachati, then it cannot be taken as a sentence because there is much gap in between. Sannidhi is not there. So Chaitraha Pachati. Immediately one has to pronounce. So yogyata, akanksha, yogyata, and asakti, all these three are called by the name. They are prerequisites of a sentence. So that is vakyam. Is it time?
Yes, Professor.
Ah.
So there are a couple of questions now that I see. Should we take them?
Immediately.
Yeah. There's one from Arvind Kaushik. He says, question for Dr. Subrahmanyam. What do you think of the theory that Indian linguistics developed out of the Indian science of ritual, specifically Vedic rituals? I'll repeat the question. What do you think of the theory that Indian linguistics developed out of the Indian science of ritual, specifically Vedic rituals?
Yes. Generally, ritual means Vedic ritual only. Because mantras are employed. Any ritual you take up, one has to use the mantras from Veda, Agni, Ile, Purohitam, etc. Anyway, here, actually, a question is slightly difficult, but still I shall try to answer. See, if anybody outside India had developed some theories out of the Vedic ritual, if and only if they are just compatible with whatever theories are already there in Vyakaranam, Niruktam, Mimamsa, Vedanta, then they are acceptable. If they are, some people are developing some theories on their own without the knowledge of these systems of Indian philosophy, then they are not acceptable. So please check whether they fall in line with the already established theories of our Shiksha, Vyakaranam, Niruktam, Purva Mimamsa, Nyaya Vaisheshika, and Vedanta.
Thank you, Professor. There is another question. There are a few actually now. Sir, what is Spota? Is it Shabda or Artha?
Both.
That is one question.
Given, but this asked again, Spuchite Arthaha Asmat iti Panchami Ghani Prichaya. From this, Artha is attained. And Artha is also Spota because it is made clear by this Shabda. Therefore, Shabdopi Spotaha, Arthopi Spotaha. Both are called by the name Spota. Generally, but it is called Spota Shabda. But actually, it means both. Shabda is other Artha. Next.
Okay. There is one more. There is one which is asking you to say about Yaska. In fact, we are going to do a symposium specific to Nirupta soon. So the person can stay tuned. Yes, the person can stay tuned. I think
Vyakaranam deals with Shabda, perfect Shabda, use and abuse of language, in other words, not Artha. Whereas Niruptam, Vyakaranasya, Vyakaranasya, it is called, it is a tail end of Vyakaranam. In Nirupta, Yaska himself says, this is a tail end of Vyakaranam, because Vyakaranam deals with Shabda, but we want Artha also. So, Nisheshena Uchyate Arthaha Anena Idi Niruptam. The term means clearly the meaning is explained by this. How to get the meaning of a Shabda, how to decide the meaning of a Shabda, etc. All those things are discussed in Niruptam. So, it deals with Artha. Next. Including Thesaurus.
Yeah, we'll take one last question. Can you compare Panini and Abhinavagupta for Shabda and Artha? This is a question from Anand Guri.
Any question, no problem here. So here what happens is Abhinavagupta, who was a great scholar and authored a commentary on Dhanyaloka, there he clearly takes up the Siddhantas that are there in Panini, elaborated and explained with examples by Patanjali and Bhartrhari in Vakyapadiyam. This is clear. So when he says Dhani Siddhanta, then because the Alankara Shastra is dependent, it is clearly stated in Mamata by Mamatacharya in Kavya Prakasha and Anandavardhana in Dhanyaloka. The Alankara Shastra, Sahitya Shastra, totally Rasa Siddhanta, Dhani Siddhanta is totally dependent on Spota Siddhanta. So Abhinavagupta or anybody else cannot escape from this. So he quoted from different, verses, etc., from Vakyapadiyam also. and indirectly Mahabhashyam also he quoted. These are nothing but Panini only. Panini's theory and the system, it runs like that. So Abhinavagupta was a scholar in Paniniya Vyakaranam, and he quotes from Vakyavadiyam, etc. And while establishing Dhani Siddhanta, he used it a lot.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Professor, for sharing your insights and also for taking questions and doing so within time and maintaining time. Thank you for doing that. It's always a pleasure to have you on the Indica platform and to have the opportunity to learn from your wisdom.